I love music. I've been playing guitar since I was 7. And since I discovered rock and roll, there was no turning back. So needless to say, music was always an integral part of learning English for me. So in this episode, I want to talk to you a little bit about the benefits of learning English with music, why you should incorporate music more often in your English practice, and also I'm going to give you some tips, some practical tips on how you can do just that. Are you ready? So let's get started. Hey there, how's it going? Thiago here, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. In case you're listening to me for the first time, this podcast is intended to help intermediate and advanced learners of English communicate with more confidence, more accuracy, more clarity, and more awareness. If this sounds like something you want for yourself and your English, subscribe to the channel here on YouTube or follow the show if you are on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. That way, you won't miss a single new episode. So, music. Why should you learn English with music? Why incorporate this type of media into your English practice? Let me give you some reasons here. First of all, music is more than just entertainment. Remember that. It's a natural, engaging way to learn. Wouldn't you want to feel engaged when learning something? Music can help you with that. Also, music provides you with a fun and immersive environment. One of the key components to learning English well is being immersed in the language. So if you have the habit of listening to lots of songs in English, that is already being immersed in the language. So remember that. Also, research has shown that music activates different parts of our brain, which is excellent because when you learn English as a second language and when you are a little bit older, you tend to activate other parts of your brain as well. It's almost like your brain is summoning different areas in order to tackle this task of learning English as a second language. And since music activates different parts of our brain, music and language learning, I would say they go hand in hand. It's like a perfect marriage, let's say. The cool thing about music is that it also gives you exposure to natural pronunciation and rhythm. Rhythm is a big deal because if you become familiar with rhythm, tone, pace, that will also help you get the rhythm, the tone, the pace of English speaking. Music can also help you learn common phrases and everyday vocabulary, which is awesome. And it can also help you learn colloquial language and slang. Just to recap here, colloquial language is the type of words, phrases, and expressions that native speakers usually use in everyday conversation. That type of language usually is a bit different from the type of language you hear or you learn in schools, in textbooks, the so-called standard English. So listening to music often gives you exposure to more colloquial vocabulary, colloquial English. I would say that music also helps to expand your cultural understanding. Usually music, genres, bands, artists, they represent the culture they are immersed in. So if you listen to something from the 70s, you get to understand how people used to think back then or what kinds of topics young people used to listen to or be more interested back then. The same thing with 80s music and 90s and the 2000s. Each generation has their music. And music is like the generation's way of expressing itself. So it gives you cultural insights as well if you consume music regularly. I would also say that listening to music with intention develops your critical thinking, especially when you take time to sit down and read the lyrics to your favorite songs, analyze the words that are being said there, and thinking about the meaning behind that song. What is the main message the singer of the band is trying to pass on to you? When you engage in that activity of trying to understand the hidden message or the message behind a song, this helps develop your critical thinking. So these are some basic reasons why I believe you should use English more often in your English studies. Now, how to do it? How to learn English with music? Remember that there is a difference between the active approach and the passive approach. It's the same with movies and TV series. I always talk about the importance of being intentional, deliberate with practicing your English with movies and TV series, not just watching for fun, but watching to study. Here with music, the same principle applies. There's a difference between listening to music for fun versus listening to music for studying purposes. All right? Unfortunately, I would say that music is mostly consumed passively nowadays. Whereas in the past, I believe people consumed music more intentionally. If you go back 30, 40, 50 years ago, listening to music was an experience. For example, you had to go to the record store, look for your favorite album, your favorite vinyl record, or, if you're a little bit younger, maybe your favorite CD. Then you buy that album, you take it home, you put it on a player, and then you would spend hours listening to that album over and over again. You would invite your friends to come over and listen to that album with you. You would look at the photos of the album, at the image, the artwork, the lyrics, and you would just let your imagination go wild as you listen to music. It was more of an experience. Nowadays, music has become so ubiquitous, so available everywhere because of streaming services that I believe that people nowadays, they don't give as much importance to music as they should. So music nowadays is more that kind of thing that plays in the background, plays while you're doing something else. You are at the gym, you are doing the dishes, you are doing something, but you're not really paying attention to what you're listening. I think this is really sad, to be honest. So my message here in this episode, first and foremost, is let's try to bring back some of that deliberate, intentional experience that music used to provide us with in the past. Let's listen to music with more intention, all right? More as an experience, not as something trivial that you leave playing in the background. So reflect on that. Now, let me give you some practical tips here on how you can start practicing your English more with music. First of all, let's talk about choosing the right music. I really recommend you start with familiar genres and familiar artists. Also, focus on songs with clear lyrics. Maybe starting with a rap song or a hip-hop song or a heavy metal type of tune where the person is, singing really high and really aggressively. That might not be the best style for you to start with. So start with songs that have clear lyrics, have clear singing, because remember, your purpose is to learn English with these songs, study English with these songs. If I could recommend a genre for you, I would say anything from the 70s and the 80s. Go back and listen to pop music. It could be pop music from the 70s and the 80s. That should be already a good starting point for you. You can also go back to the 60s because, the 60s were also really cool. All right? Then, as you progress, you can gradually expand the genres of music you use to practice English with. Maybe you start with something very slow, maybe a romantic type of song or something very clear. But then as you gain more confidence, you can start challenging yourself by listening to maybe a hard rock song and trying to understand what the singer is saying there, or listening to a rap song or a hip hop song and try to understand that. But make sure you build up to it, okay? Start slow, start easy, and then you challenge yourself as you feel more confident. engage in active listening, and also lyric analysis. And the cool thing about nowadays, guys, the technology we have available nowadays is that, having access to the lyrics of a song nowadays is so easy. It's so everywhere. If you go to Google and you type in the name of the song and you write lyrics, you're going to see a bunch of websites there with the lyrics to the song. If you go to YouTube and you type in the name of the song and the word lyrics, you're going to have tons of lyric videos there with the words being animated, and you can follow along. When you listen to Spotify or any other music streaming service, the app itself already has the lyrics there that you can just tap on it, click on it, and you can listen to the song and follow along the words. It's so much easier nowadays to have access to the lyrics so you can read them and analyze them. Back in my time, look, I don't want to sound like an old fart here, but back in my time, I actually had to go to a LAN house, and print out the lyrics to my favorite songs so I could have them on paper. It wasn't as easy as it is nowadays to have access to lyrics of songs. Isn't that crazy? So take advantage of that. I also recommend you sing along your favorite songs and practice pronunciation with them. When you sing along out loud, you are also practicing your pronunciation, your enunciation, articulation, your speaking as a whole. Don't worry, nobody's going to hear you. If you have a terrible singing voice, that's okay. The purpose is not for you to sound great, but for you to practice your English speaking. So have fun with it. Don't take yourself so seriously. I would recommend also creating your own musical playlists. And here's the thing, you can try creating different playlists based on categories. For example, you could have a playlist that says songs to practice simple past, or songs to practice present perfect, or songs with fast singing, or songs with hard lyrics, or songs with advanced vocabulary. You can go crazy with it, You can create different playlists and have different categories related to your learning. All right? I would also recommend paying attention to rhyming words. Usually music, songs, they're full of rhyming words. If you look at the lyrics, you will see that the verses, the words, they tend to rhyme. This is great for pronunciation, for learning the sounds of the English language, and, learning words that sound the same or that have the same ending. Let me give you one example here. As you guys know, I love rock music. I love heavy metal. I love hard rock. And Metallica is one of my favorite bands of all time. So, for example, Metallica has a song called Wherever I May Roam. So, listen to these lyrics here. The song goes like this, the first verse, right? And the road becomes my bride. I have stripped of all but pride. So in her I do confide. And she keeps me satisfied. Gives me all I need. You see, so this is the first verse of the song. I happen to know it by heart. But you see how many rhyming words we have here? Bride, pride, confide, satisfied. Really cool, right? So start paying attention to that. Another example of another song that I love is Hotel California from the Eagles. So check it out. On a dark desert highway, cool wind in my head, the warm smell of colitas rising up through the air. You see, so head, air, they kind of sound similar, So getting used to verses like this, rhyming words helps you a lot with your English practice. So do that with your favorite songs, all right? Of course, always seek to understand what the main message of a song is. And this is something really cool because maybe you love to listen to a certain song, but you've never really paid attention to the lyrics. But then once you pay attention to the lyrics, you sit down and analyze the lyrics. And once you learn the meaning or those words, what the song is actually talking about, depending on the message, you might love the song even more, or you might maybe start hating the song. You don't like it anymore because the message is just so meh, you know? I certainly had that in my case. You know, there were times when I always listened to a certain song because I loved the music. But once I learned English and once I understood what the song talked about, I realized that the message was kind of silly or it was kind of stupid. That detracted from my liking of the song a little bit. On the other hand, there were sometimes songs that I didn't really like so much to listen to, but once I learned the meaning of the lyrics, I realized that, whoa, I mean, this is a great message or great lyrics. And then I started to appreciate the song more. And the holy grail for me is when you have a song that sounds great musically, like the music is awesome, and the lyrics are also awesome. If you can find songs like that, you have the holy grail. You have found the holy grail. Songs like Hotel California, for example, from the Eagles. The music is great and the lyrics are great. It tells a whole story there, you know, in the lyrics. All right. So always try to seek to understand what the main message of your songs is. And you might realize that many of the songs you listen to on a daily basis just have simple, dumb, stupid messages. And then you might go like, oh my God, really? Is that what I'm listening to? Maybe I should go back to, you know, some older artists and older bands and try to find, you know, songs that actually sound good and that have good lyrics. Just a thought, all right? It's the old guy in me, the old man in me talking to you right now, okay? Also, you can use music apps and online resources. So one website that you can try, and I really recommend, is Lyrics Training. I believe it's lyricstraining.com. You can just go to Google and type in Lyrics Training. You're going to find it there. It's kind of a gamified version of practicing English with music. So you get to listen to the song and then you get to fill in some words in the lyrics, or you get to choose some options there, like a fill in the gap type of exercise. So do check it out. Lyrics Training is a great website for you to practice your English in a fun way. All right. You can follow some YouTube channels that specialize in music as well. For example, I love to follow Rick Beato. You know, Rick Beato has this huge channel on YouTube with millions of subscribers, and his channel is all about music. He talks about music theory. He interviews famous musicians and artists, and, you know, his channel is just awesome. So if you love music, you got to follow his channel, you know? And of course, nowadays, you can even use ChatGPT or Gemini to work with the lyrics of your favorite songs. Maybe you can grab the lyrics somewhere, copy them, paste them on ChatGPT, let's say, and you can start chatting with ChatGPT about the song, like, you know, asking ChatGPT to define the main words, to create a fill-in-the-gap exercise for you, maybe to give you some extra information about the song that you might not know, the hidden meaning or the underlying meaning or one of the interpretations. The sky is the limit. Just use your imagination. So make sure you use music apps and online resources like this, ChatGPT, YouTube channels, and so on. I would also recommend combining music with other skills. So you can do a little listen and repeat type of activity with music. You can practice your writing with music. Maybe you can just pull up the lyrics and then you can copy the lyrics longhand to your favorite songs. You are practicing writing, you know, with the lyrics to your favorite song. You can practice grammar. Like I said before, you know, you can just look for songs that use a lot of simple past or songs that use a lot of present perfect or any other structure. There are tons of songs and tons of grammar topics that you can practice with these songs, all right? Vocabulary, of course. You can practice slang, colloquialisms, idioms, expressions, so on. So music is a very rich type of medium that you should definitely use. when improving your English. And speaking of music, I really recommend you check out my private community. By becoming a member of my private community, you get to interact with me and other members of the community, other English learners just like you. You get to ask your questions. You get to share things that are relevant to your English learning journey. And here's the cool thing. The members meet up every month, multiple times during live calls to practice conversation. I meet up with the members once a month for a live call, so you get to interact with me as well. For about an hour, we talk in English. You ask me your questions. We play some games together. It's awesome. And we are talking about music here today, right? We also have an activity in the community that is called the Weekend Song. So every week we have a poll with a few songs for you to pick. And then the most voted song by the end of the week becomes the winner. So the winning song provides you with a full PDF with lyrics to the song, links on YouTube for you to listen to the song, exercises, vocabulary explanation, grammar explanation, and many other things. So if you want to practice your English with music and with other members of the community, with other English learners like you, join the community. For a small amount of money every month, you get to be a member and unlock these and many other cool perks and benefits. So link in the description here of the video, in the pinned comment below, and in the show notes if you are on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. But I really recommend you give the community a try because you can practice your English with music and with many other cool activities that we have going on there. So do check it out. All right, so I hope you found this episode useful, and I really wish you start incorporating music more often in your English learning journey. And let me know here in the comment section below, have you already been using music to practice your English? If so, how? Share your experience with music and English learning here under the video. It'll be great to, hear what you guys have to say about this topic. But before we close this episode today, let's go to the Learner's Corner. And for the Learner's Corner today, I got here an email from Kauan from Brazil. So let me read it for you. Hi, teacher. How are you doing? I hope you're fine. I'm just here to thank you for everything you've been doing for me. And by the way, my name is Kauan, and I'm also from Brazil. As I said before, you've helped me a lot with your videos because a few months ago, I wasn't motivated enough to keep learning English. I was just learning for the reason that I wanted to achieve a good job. However, when I found your channel, you taught me that we need to enjoy the process, even if you don't get good results at first. It takes time. So after all this time, I'm motivated to become an English teacher one day. It's a huge goal, but I'll never give up. I appreciate your way to help us with your knowledge. I know it's not too much, or so much, but I just wanted to say how grateful I am for your work. Thanks for your time, and I hope I'll be back in the future to share my process of becoming an English teacher. Best regards, Kauan. Kauan, thanks for the support, for the email. I really appreciate that. I'm glad to know that the videos here have been helping you and giving you the motivation that you needed. All right. I also feel very, I feel flattered, let's say, to inspire you to want to become an English teacher as well. I've been teaching English now for pretty much 20 years at this point, and I can tell you straight up, it is a great profession. You have tons of fun, and of course there are its challenges, but I just love it. Yeah, it's great. So I wish you good luck, and I hope you can become an English teacher in the future as well, and do keep me posted, all right? As a matter of fact, I do plan to record an episode here on the podcast sharing my experience of how I became an English teacher. So for those of you who are interested in becoming an English teacher yourselves, I think that episode is going to be very good for you, but I'll make that one soon enough, all right? Guys, if you want to do it just like Kauan, you can send me an email at hello.teacherthiago@gmail.com, or if you prefer, you can send me another message by going to speakpipe.com/English with Thiago. Don't forget to check out my private community where you get to practice your English with music, riddles, activities, meetups, live Q&As, and many other things. It's really cool. And subscribe to the channel here on YouTube if you're not a subscriber yet. Leave me a comment down below letting me know what you thought about today's episode. And of course, share this video with a friend who's also learning English. If you are on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, leave me a 5-star review on those platforms. That helps me a lot. And that's pretty much all I have for you for now. Thank you so much for your attention, for listening to me. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm Thiago. I'm signing off. And I'll be talking to you very soon in the upcoming episode. Bye-bye.